Hooey! Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I am Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a special episode about the big ordeal going on today in the world of mixed martial arts. Some of you may know already, some of you may not, and getting this episode out there to help bring awareness to the situation, and hopefully everything works out for the better. And yeah, it looks like the battle's not over with the lawyers. So yeah, as you all know, or some of you may know and some of you may not, Nick Diaz, the legendary Nick Diaz, who should be in the UFC Hall of Fame down the line when his career is all said and done. You know, Strikeforce superstar and UFC superstar, main evented big fights, had big clashes in Strikeforce and UFC, and yeah, just he trains with Jake Shields, he trains with his brother Nate Diaz, and you know, just you know, Leslie Smith he's trained with, and a lot of great fighters over up there in Northern California he's trained with and helped out and mentored. And he's a product of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And so yeah, usually, you know, yeah, when I open my episodes I say, when you watch my show, you're in my corner. Well, you know, Nick Diaz, bro, hang in there, because I'm in your corner. I think the 5-year suspension is absurd. I think that 1/3 of his purse gone, and having to pay from 1/3 of his purse from the Anderson Silva fight gone, and being penalized, and then also having to pay the court fees, and then the whole restriction on attending events. I think that's all going a little too extreme. You know, I say, like, okay, if he wants to corner a guy, let him corner a guy. You know, until this whole thing blows off, I could maybe justify, you know, just until we get his lawyers sort through everything and hopefully prevail. I can understand maybe him just clearing his mind, maybe taking a little bit of time off. But 5 years, I mean, that's just a little too much for me, and I think a lot of fans agree with me too. So yeah, they had a court hearing today. Nick Diaz went to the Nevada State Athletic Commission and you know, was doing the best he could, him and his lawyers, to defend his case with the whole marijuana situation. You know, there was apparently marijuana in his system in the mix of the Anderson Silva fight at UFC 183, but there was tests that showed that the levels were not quite there on the failing side. He was still within a reasonable limit, and to my knowledge he does have a medical marijuana card, and yeah, they weren't, and at the end of the day they were not steroids, and he was not in any sort of predicament that was you know, nothing too much. You know, he was still mentally and physically within reason for the fight. And then Anderson Silva, you know, got suspended for a year, and you know, a lot of people would agree the stuff he got busted for is a lot worse. You know, it's hard to say, you know, how long should Anderson Silva be out. You know, some people think, you know, he should retire if he doesn't want to retire. I don't think he should retire if he doesn't want to, but yeah, I mean, bottom line is, you know, it's like one guy gets 1 year, one guy gets 5 years. 5 years. That's pretty much messing up his entire career for the foreseeable future. Because who knows if you'd ever come back after those 5 years. So, yeah, you know, just I thought I'd make this special episode of Nate's MMA Corner, let all the MMA fans out there know what's going on with this big headline. So the lawyers are not giving up. They, because Nick Diaz kept pleading the fifth in the court hearing. I watched pretty much the whole thing on Fight Pass, and he kept pleading the fifth, which is his total right to do. And he was being asked questions like, do you speak English, can you read, and you know, do you understand English? And it's so obvious that he does. Yeah, you know, just the whole situation was quite disturbing at the tail end of it. I felt he was being a little picked on and vilified in the courtroom, and you know, so I thought make this episode, let you guys know what's going on, inform you, because you know, Nate's MMA Corner is, after all, an MMA news show, and this is, you know, MMA big news. So I thought I'd make one episode just about this, and also, you know, just being a big, proud Nick Diaz fan. Yeah, you know, I want, if you're watching, bro, I know some of the fighters watch my show. I don't know how many watch whichever episode, but yeah, you know, I'm in your corner, bro. I'm rooting for you. Hope you get through this, and I hope you get back in title contention in 170 or 185, whichever weight class you decide to fight at. And yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on my future episodes, on the updates on this whole case, as Nick Diaz's lawyers are constantly fighting this thing as we speak, and his lawyers, I think, are doing a good job. So yeah, all the Nick Diaz fans out there, all the fellow, I should say, Nick Diaz fans out there, keep your heads up. Well, let's hope for the best, and stay tuned for my next episode down the line, which, well, I'll do obviously a pre-fight on Barnett versus Nelson, but I may throw in another update episode or another big news episode, as there's a big gap between this and the pre-fight, so stay tuned. And yeah, until then, see ya.